The 49ers play their first Sunday night football game against the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday at Levi Stadium. Jason, I promise I'm not going to sing the song, but I know a song you can sing.
Burp,
Burp.
burp, 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 burp.
It is a new Spit Right Option podcast. I'm Andrew Pasquini, joined as always by Jason Aponte, the man with the pipes, the man who provides the theme song. Jason, it's Friday on the East Coast. It's Friday on the West Coast. How you doing on your the start of your weekend?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm really excited about this game. It's been a week of a lot of preparation, watching film. And that's the thing that I think I'm most excited about to talk about is what Atlanta does on film and how the 49ers are actually in a good spot here this week in certain aspects. And I think where we should start is where the hell the injury report lies and who the hell's in. And they should, instead of telling us who's injured, they should just say the 5 players who aren't injured.
Yeah, listen, it was tweeted that it took Kyle Shanahan 32 seconds and 6 breaths to get through the entire injury report on
Who was that? Rob
Thursday.
Louder? Shout out to
I believe
Rob.
it was Louder who had that. I'm just going to save it to the kind of important pieces, the ones that came out today, the ones that will really affect the 49ers. Jason Aponte, it'll be another week without Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's going to miss Sunday night with his toe injury. Obviously, still don't really know where that is. It felt like that this would be the week he would be making his return, but he does not. Ricky Pearsall also ruled out with a knee injury. So that's just another week, another injury. Jason, I'm starting to really learn something that we don't get much insight on the 49ers injuries. It's just kind of not how it works. We still don't know where Brandon Ayuk is either, but that's a conversation for another
Is
day.
Brendan Ayuk even on the team?
I don't know. I don't know at this point, Jason. If you told me that he was traded to the Patriots 2 weeks ago, I might have to believe you at this point. So we don't know what's going on there. Don't know the timeline for Ricky Pearsall. Yetur Gross-Matos also rolled out with a hamstring injury. Since the 49ers haven't made the IR move yet, Fred Warner has also been ruled out. I think we knew that. Questionable. Damn, it was such like a Simpsons thing. I don't know why I shouldn't laugh at it, but it was good timing, good comedic timing. Jason Aponte.
Mm-hmm.
Questionable is Kevin Givens. Haven't seen him yet this season with the pectoral injury. He would be a big boost to the 49ers defensive line, especially with who they have to face on Sunday. I have a feeling we're going to talk a lot of Bijan Robinson on this episode. Renardo Green still dealing with his neck injury. And then in true 49ers fashion, Jason Aponte, Upton Stout questionable with an ankle injury. And you might be saying, what? Yeah, he got hurt last play of practice yesterday because of course, it's how it works. He's been looking really, really good lately too. So of course he's got to make his sacrifice, I guess, as the Niners need to do every year. But I guess the big news here, Jason, is who is playing, and that will be the return of George Kittle, big number 85, and could not come soon enough because Kendrick Bourne has had a lot. Listen, I love Kendrick Bourne having 100-yard games, absolutely. But if you would have told me 3 months ago, Jason Aponte, that Kendrick Bourne would have back-to-back 100-yard games, probably wouldn't feel great.
No, not back-to-back 100-yard games. Back-to-back 140-yard games.
Back-to-back career high games because this is career high.
And Kendrick Bourne, with one more 100-yard game, would be the first 49ers receiver to have 3 straight games of 100 yards. That since whatever number, that doesn't even make sense, but keep going.
30 years since Jerry Rice. I don't know if have you heard of him, Jason Aponte? Jerry Rice, pretty good receiver, niche receiver back in the 90s and 80s. He was pretty good for the Niners. He'd be the first Niner to have 3 consecutive 100-yard games. But Jason, I think the thing I am most excited for this game is Mac Jones with George Kittle. I think that's one of the things that intrigues me the most because we've seen Mac Jones deal a little bit, right? I don't think he had the best game on Sunday against Tampa Bay, but at the same time, I don't think it was his worst game. I thought he had an average game, right? The last interception wasn't great, but now you're getting him an established weapon in this offense. And not to say Ricky Pearsall's not a weapon. He just isn't quite established. He's had a few good games. Jawan Jennings, is he even on the Niners still? Like, that's another situation.
Well,
but having George Kittle, good.
No, but before you get into that, we were just talking about the injuries. How is it that Jawan Jennings has 5 broken ribs, ankle sprain, high and low, and he's not listed at all on his injury report? Like, you see why 49er fans are so hesitant to believe anything that they hear. How on earth is it that, this guy is full practice, no injuries, and then you watch him play and he's clearly hurt and he says he's hurt, but they don't list it? Like, is this allowed? Is the
He's
question that I'm going to keep
he's
asking. Is this allowed?
he's listed as limited practice on Wednesday, Thursday. So he is listed on it with an ankle, rib, and
But
shoulder injury.
but
But
game listed,
yeah,
like, yeah, like game listed. He's not listed as questionable or anything. He's full go. What are we doing here?
yeah, that situation, I feel like I said this sentence too many times, Jason, and this isn't exactly a game preview, but with the Brandon Ayuk stuff that came out this week, which however much is true, however much isn't true, don't know. I've felt in my tummy for a few weeks now. There's been this weird issue with Brandon Ayuk. But Juwan Jennings also, they fall into this category of these are situations that feel like they're going to get worse before they get better. And I don't like that feeling from my football team in week 7 of a season. But Jason, let's get to the preview here. Mac Jones and George Kittle. Do you think, I think obviously it helps Mac Jones, but how much do you think George Kittle offers this 49ers offense outside of the very obvious? He's very good at pass catching.
Yeah, a lot. And you know what? Still, I don't know why, we kind of missed this part because he's not listed either. But, what's the deal with Jordan Watkins in this game? And they're going to
Mm-hmm.
need him. And because, again, MVS is somebody who's the clear out king. Now, you might as well get Jordan Watkins in here to clear things out so you can get things, going underneath as well. But it means everything. It means everything for the run game. It means everything for trying to stretch out this defense and trying to figure out soft spots and hitting the seams. I think what Atlanta does very well is they obviously rush the passer. They're gonna blitz. They blitz about 46% of the time. That's what Jeff Ulbrich does against the Bills. Once Josh Palmer left that game, I don't know if you guys watched. Josh Palmer runs a seam route and Josh Allen hits it right over the top of. And then when he gets injured, Atlanta says, "That's it. Blitz, 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 blitz," and they had nobody outside who could, press them or anything like that. And that's what I noticed from that game. So they end up 56%. But you're going to need this in this game for not only the protection, but to also put those linebackers in a bind. We found out today that Jalen Walker's not playing today. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
He's been so good for them setting the edge and being that hybrid weapon that just takes away one more option, for them. Like we kind of laughed at the Falcons saying like, what the hell are you doing taking Jalen Walker and James Pierce? This is what they're doing is they're assaulting quarterbacks and applying pressure with as much pressure as they can and pass rushes. So yeah, it means everything. And I do feel like the biggest contribution, not only with, the pass catching, this is the week the 49ers actually will be able to run the football. And that is something that is really important. When you watched it, the game got away from Buffalo, but James Cook was on the ground cooking them. And they were and they run a lot more gap scheme stuff. They don't run outside zone like the 49ers do. But this is the week, if any. Now Jalen Walker's out and I believe Barton's out. You've got to be able to run the football and keep that pass rush at bay. This is the week, and that's it. I'm going to jump out on a limb. This is the week the 49ers running game actually starts
Yep.
to look like the running game of old. And that starts with George Kittle, and all of those things and his appearances have a cascading effect. So it means everything.
Let's talk about the run game for the 49ers, Jason, because that's exactly what I had written down. I know you watched a lot of film. Jeff Ulbrich, a great defensive coordinator, great 49er linebacker as well. But this would be the game, Jason. If the run game does not work, then we officially have concerns.
If it
At
doesn't
least
work this week, it's broken.
Yeah, at least in terms of yards per game, Jason, this is the worst run defense the 49ers have faced this season. Seattle's allowed 79 rushing yards per game. The Saints have allowed 114 rushing yards per game, but they get ran on a lot. They only allow 3.8 yards per attempt. The Falcons allow 4.8 yards per attempt, even though they both allow 114 rush yards per game. Arizona, 102 rush yards per game. Jacksonville, 91. Rams, 107. Tampa Bay, 88. The Falcons are at 114, as I say, tied with the Saints at 4.8 yards per attempt is the 6th worst in the league. No, obviously the injuries you talked about, no Jalen Walker, guy I was big in the draft process this season. Jason, if you remember, I like him a lot. Niner fans know Leonard Floyd in the run game, not exactly the best mix. And you're getting George Kittle back. Chris McCaffrey, career low 3.1 rush yards per attempt. It's not looking good, but Jason, those were the numbers. What did you see on the film that allows the run game for the Falcons, the run defense for the Falcons to struggle so much?
So the problem is that while they have these faster guys, they aren't good enough to anchor in the second level. And what I was noticing with Jalen Walker is he does a great job setting the edge, but the cutback lanes were still there. And when they did run outside with James Cook, that's not really the staple of their offense, right? But they were doing so many of the things that the 49ers have done, pulling guards, pulling centers, getting outside. They were beating them out there with their speed. Again, if this doesn't work this week, then we're going to just have to say the 49ers run game is shit. And then that's just where we're just going to have to keep it, until they change something. But all of that stuff is there. And James Cook looked very good, looked very comfortable. The problem is that game got away from them. And I don't, it doesn't happen often, but when watching that game, I don't know what the hell got into Josh Allen, but he's like turning down wide open throws and bailing on pockets, and he just looked bad. He just looked bad, out of sorts. And again, the Bills need a outside receiver. So obviously you want to look at this and you want to say, okay, who's the 49er that's going to stretch the field and keep the Falcons at bay? But as soon as Josh Palmer left that game, the Falcons said, we don't care. We're not worried about Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman. We're not worried about any of them. We're going to blitz you 5 and 6 and 7 guys at a time, and we're good. We're 4 on the back end, and we'll take our chances. Josh Allen didn't play well, but the run game was there constantly. And that's what I kept noticing. I'm like, man, that's a great run by Cook. Great run by Cook, but they abandoned the run. And what I noticed was with the way that Atlanta blitzes, and this is directly tied back to Mac Jones, the way Atlanta blitzes is so interesting. There's so much cool stuff that was on this film. Like, I'm not nerding out, like, trying to gas up Atlanta. I'm just nerding out because it was just good football shit. Like, this defense was throwing stuff out there for the sickos. It's like lining up 6 and 7 guys, sending 5, even having one guy engage, and then having those 2 guys drop back to the middle of the field to take away the quick throws and crossers. And it's just so genius because you're still getting the pressure that you need, but you're understanding where the hot reads are and the throws are, and it almost in the same lane as like a robot technique in which you bite on the play action when you realize that it's not, you turn your back and you just run towards the crosser. It looks like that, but it's so good because they understand that they're confusing you with what they're sending, and then they're getting back to the quick throws that you're trying to hit. It was really interesting shit that they were doing, honestly, on Monday night. I won't sit here and say that I've watched all of their games, but what I watched on Monday, man, that was some cool shit, honestly. Jeff Ulbrich is really in his bag, and this is probably one of the better defenses, especially against the pass, that the Falcons have had in years. So it's going to be up to Mac to not fall into the trap of, oh, I see 6 coming and I could just go to the middle crosser. No, they're trying to bait you so they can get you to throw an interception to one of those underneath guys. So it's going to be interesting to see if they bring that same sort of game plan.
Well, and it's, you mentioned it at the end there, Jason. It's just as important for the run game to get going on Sunday, not just for the sake of the run game, but the sake of the pass game. Atlanta hasn't allowed a 200-yard passer this season. Like, no. I'll repeat that. Atlanta has not allowed a 200-yard pass. And I know they caught some breaks. They got
no, they lost the game. They lost the game 30-0.
They lost the game 30-0, but they faced an injured bad JJ McCarthy. They got Marcus Mariota instead of Jaden Daniels, but at the same time, they lost 30-0, and Bryce Young didn't hurt them. They held Josh Allen, as everybody saw on Monday night. This defense, like usually you're used. I think we've talked about the idea, Jason, of you see the Ravens and you see those Ravens uniforms, you just assume it's a good defense because, the defenses you saw growing up with Ray Lewis and all of them, kind of the same thing with the Seahawks because of the Legion and Boom. You see those Seahawks jerseys. The Falcons are the opposite. The Falcons, you see those jerseys, you think offensive team. And that's very much not the case with this Falcons team. This is a very good defensive Falcons team, and something's going to have to give because Mac Jones averaging 300 yards per game passing as the starter for the 49ers. Atlanta, as I said, hasn't allowed a 200-yard passer yet. So how the Niners attack the run game is only going to be able to help. And if they can't, if Christian McCaffrey after a quarter and a half is averaging 3 yards per carry, the game's going to be cooked because you're going to have to start throwing the ball, and that's what Atlanta wants you to do. And obviously with Mac Jones, Jason, you posted it. Obviously he's had some injury issues, saying thank you to not looking good at the end of games. And so hey, you want to rate? He's so, dude, I love him as a quarterback, man. I didn't think I would love Mac Jones as much as I have.
He's
but
hilarious, dude.
He has been so fun to watch as the Niners quarterback, but we don't need to get into the quarterback conversation. With how injured he's been, he's not going to be able to move either against these blitzes. So the Niners run game is going to be so important on Sunday, not just for the run game, but the play action and to keep the pass honest for the Falcons. This is going to be such an interesting matchup.
Yeah, and again, you say what you want, but whatever condition Jawan Jennings is in, Jennings, Kittle, Bourne, this is as good as it's been for a long time, and a lot of that has to do with Kittle as well. So, and I thought it was interesting that Kyle Shanahan was asked about chemistry, right? And they were like, "Oh, Mac and Kendrick have chemistry." He goes, "I think it's interesting that you don't think that him and Kittle will connect because Kittle gets open and he'll throw the ball to the guy who's open." I thought that was kind of interesting to throw that out there. Yeah. So, like, it is in the best shape that it's going to be. But it is going to be very much, and this is Mac's forte, it's getting the ball out quickly. I don't want him to get baited into these things that Atlanta's been running, like and throwing out there. So I trust Mac, but again, if you're running the football and you're pushing back that pass rush, so when they are blitzing and you send a draw play, you're going to run right by them. Like you have to be able to counteract all that. And it all starts with that. If the 49ers could run the football, this one can get ugly because they'll hold on to the football for a long time and they'll wear down that defense and be able to do what they want. So it all harkens back to that. Again, if this game is not the game that the 49ers run the football, then we officially have to declare this running game cooked. Yeah. Like this has to be it. And when is it going to be? It's literally the team that is the worst that you've faced. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, given the defensive points expected on Pro Football Reference, minus 7.77 on run defense. That's really bad. So this has to be it, right? Like this has to be it, right? So a little bit of Brian Robinson and a little bit of and a lot of Christian McCaffrey, but you've got to be you cannot win this game dropping Mac Jones back 43 times. You are asking for disaster.
Jason, last thing before we switch over to Atlanta's offense versus the Niners defense. We've talked about how we feel like this is Kyle Shanahan's best season so far in terms of game calling, game planning. What is he going to have to do against Jeff Ulbrich? Because this is like, if we're really talking about the matchups of the night, I think that'll be the biggest one is offensive play caller Kyle Shanahan against Jeff Ulbrich. All those things we just talked about the Niners going to have to do. How is Kyle Shanahan going to get that to work?
Yeah, I mean the simple answer is screens and stuff like that, right? But I want to point something else out. The reason that the Falcons pass defense is really good is because AJ Terrell has been very good this season. Jesse Bates is a very good safety as well too. Like they've got guys on the back end that can cover. And that helps as well too. Where you're supposed to beat them is with their linebackers, and that's again where it feels like we say this every week, but it's got to be quicker throws. But it can't be those crossers. It can't be those slants, right? Like it's got to be quicker throws. Like, and Kendrick Bourne, for God's sakes, run the right route every single time because I don't need to see one of these routes that turns into an interception. But it's got to be screens. It's got to be designed quick throws and screens to Kittle, screens to McCaffrey, and you've got to be able to beat this defense while they over pursue because when they send that many people, now on the back end, you've got the numbers advantage and you've got to be able to block down the field, and that can create explosives. And that's what this game is going to be about is can the 49ers create explosives not only in the run game, but probably by just getting the ball out quickly to their playmakers and allowing them to get yak. Like they have to get yak in this game and make those safeties and corners come up and tackle. This has to be that type of game. That's a simple answer. Like that's not even something that's like mind blowing or who never thought to throw screens or anything like that. But when you think about it, you really can't have these longer developing routes down the field based on the pressure and based on how good this secondary has been for them. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they go about it, but it has to be that way. Running the football, it sounds boring. Screens, quick throws, getting the ball out quickly, and trying to stay away from AJ Terrell, who's been really good this season.
Yeah, AJ Terrell, I think he was a mid-first round pick in the 2020 draft. He turned out to be a very, very good pick for the Atlanta Falcons. Let's flip the sides of the ball, Jason Aponte. You mentioned the Niners' weapons. Atlanta has some pretty good weapons of their own. Michael Penix, he's been a fine quarterback. Nothing to brag about, but nothing really too bad for Penix. But it's really the weapons around him. Bijan Robinson, obviously the big one. We'll talk about him in a second. Drake London's turned himself into a very solid wide receiver in the NFL. Kyle Pitts feels like he's finally getting there. You remember Pitts and Kits, Jason Aponte? Worked in theory. But, they'll be without Ray McLeod. He has a personal issue. Don't know exactly what's going on there, so hopefully everything's okay for the former 49er. But let's talk Bijan Robinson, Jason Aponte, and really the thing that jumps out to me with Bijan Robinson, and mainly because I've been in arguments in my group chat about Christian McCaffrey's season, especially in the run game, and the response I've gotten back from him is, one of my friends is, well, look how many total yards Christian McCaffrey has this season. He's near the top of the league in total scrimmage yards, and that is very, very true, Jason Aponte, because Christian McCaffrey is second in the NFL with 780 yards from scrimmage. Very good if you just look at it by itself. And go look at Bijan Robinson. He's number one by 42 yards. Christian McCaffrey is 42 yards behind Bijan Robinson in total yards from scrimmage this season. And then you look under the hood because you hear a little noise going on under the hood in the motor, and you look under the hood. Bijan Robinson has played 5 games this season, Jason Aponte. The Niners have played 6. Bijan Robinson has gotten his 822 total yards from scrimmage on 107 touches. Christian McCaffrey has gotten his 780 yards on 154 touches. So Bijan Robinson is outgaining Christian McCaffrey by 42 yards this season on 47 fewer touches. And that's about 2 or 3 games worth, if we're being honest. Bijan Robinson's having an insane season. 484 rushing yards, his 1 yards per attempt is most for running backs in the NFL this season. He's been very productive in the receiving game as well. He has 24 receptions for 338 yards, while Christian McCaffrey, he has 336 rushing yards, 444 receiving yards. But by the way, Jason, did you know Christian McCaffrey is second in the NFL in receptions? Yeah. Only behind Puka Nacua. So it's really the difference between Bijan Robinson and Christian McCaffrey. It is quantity versus quality. Christian McCaffrey is having such a successful season because he has the quantity of touches, while Bijan Robinson's had the quality. And have I mentioned yet, Jason Aponte, the 49ers will be without Fred Warner, who will probably make it much easier to cover Bijan Robinson. How do the Niners stop Bijan?
Well, and the other thing about the argument with your friend is tell him to watch the fucking games, because
that's what I've been telling him, man. Especially with McCaffrey, he looks so much slower. But
dude, not even that. McCaffrey is he's got the record for the hardest looking 100-yard games in the history of the NFL.
Yes. Yeah.
And Bijan is effortlessly getting 100. So watch the games. All right, pal. Anyway, I'm not nearly. You know what? Okay, I want to make sure I say this because. And the only reason it hasn't come out is because the NFL just demonetizes all of my film breakdowns. And I'm tired of putting in 4 and 5 hours of work and talking about it. But I watched Tatum Batoon, and you know what, man? He's not going to replace Fred Warner, but he's fucking good, I think, man. Yeah. I mean, look, I don't want to take one game and go out the window with it. But everybody who's saying, like, oh, he's a coverage liability, they're not singling him up one-on-one. It was high-low conflicts. It was, does he collapse on Cade Otton? And if he does, then the ball goes over his head by Baker Mayfield. Does he go back to that route, or does he pepper Cade Otton? Like, I don't know where these things come from. Perhaps it's PFF. I don't know. That's been a big talking point. Perhaps it is someone seeing someone say something and then saying, hey, that sounds true, and I'm going to say it. Like, he's not Fred Warner, and I would say that the coverage part of his game is probably the part that I get nervous about the most. But he was fine. He had 10 tackles in this game. He was around the football. He is triggering downfield. So I don't know why people are like saying all these things about Batoon, especially because we have such little film, and they're like, oh, he's a coverage liability. Where? When did that happen? Show me the film clips. When did that happen? And is it going to happen with slow-ass Kyle Pitts, who runs routes? It takes him 3 to 4 business days to get out of a break? No, it's not. And Bijan is somebody who, he'll get out there. You might be worried about that. Winters is probably going to be more likely to be the guy that has to cover him as the Sam. So I don't understand where people get this stuff from, or who's telling you this, because that's not what I saw at all. Now look, Bijan's going to do his thing. What I'm far more worried about is Drake London. And I'm far more worried about Drake. I mean, because Bijan's going to get his. I'm
Yeah.
not dismissing him. Like if Bijan gets 100 and 120, I'm not gonna be like, what are you guys doing? Nobody can slow him down. And by the way, the Bills defense is putrid. Let's make sure we put that out there. Like if the 49ers can't tackle, then then it doesn't matter, right? But
Yeah.
I'm far more worried about Drake London. The last 2 weeks, the last 2 games, because they had a bye week. What I've noticed is the way that they've been using him in the slot. And that has a little to do with the fact that Darnell Mooney has been in and out. By the way, it sounds like Darnell Mooney is going to be on the field, on Sunday. So is Jake Matthews. But this slot utilization, and by the way, in the last 2 games, 18 receptions, 168 yards. 268 yards and 2 touchdowns the last 2 games for Drake London. Now, 158, 149 were in like the first half against the Bills too. So we want to make sure we put that out there. But the slot utilization is what scares me a little bit, right? You have 54 of 178 routes run out of the slot. In week 4, it was an even split of 14 and 14, meaning he lines up in the slot, but it might be a run play. We're talking about the only times that he runs routes. 14, 27 and 11 on Monday night. Now, if Darnell Mooney's there, then they'll split Darnell Mooney out wide and they'll move London in there. So I'm worried about Drake London. And the problem is that when Penix is kept clean, he's great. He's great. His numbers when he's kept clean and he hasn't been touched. Like the Bills didn't even like barely graze him on Monday. He was able to do whatever he wanted, get the ball out as quick as he like. If the 49ers can't pass rush, Drake London is going to rip up from the slot if that's the case. So that's what I'm worried about more than anything. I think Drake London's a phenomenal receiver. But my God, man, the way they're using him, I didn't realize that it's far more close to a big slot with a guy who can run outside routes. So, yeah, Bijan's going to get his. I'm not dismissing Bijan, right? Like, I'm not, that's not me dismissing him, like, at all, because, like, I wouldn't be shocked if you look up and you see 120, 125. I would just be like, that's Bijan, right? When Luka Doncic puts 45 on your head, you're not like, what the hell are you doing? You're just like, that's Luka Doncic. He's the best running back in football right now, Bijan, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the analogy I'll give. When LeBron puts 40 on your head, you're not like, somebody guard that guy. No, he's gonna put 40 on your head no matter what you're doing, right? Like, what the hell? So I don't. But if you allow Drake London to run wild in this game from the slot, from the outside, and Upton Stout's banged up, and Upton Stout is little, this is going to be a part where the 49ers are going to have to run a lot more, and they've already done it with single high. Cover one man, and they're going to have to bracket. They're going to have to bring Malik Mustafa down and bracket him from the top. So, and then now, you're opening things up for Darnell Mooney downfield. Like the chess match of the defense and everything and the way they're using London is really interesting. Again, man, I'm not trying to gas up the Falcons. I just had a blast watching their tape. Like, watching tape is hard and annoying and not fun. Like, I've been very clear about that. But it was so fun to watch this offense and defense on Monday night, man. And these are just some of the things that I noticed. Like, Bijan's gonna do his thing, man. You can't allow him to break 3 and 4 and 5 tackles. You got to tackle the guy. But if Drake London's out there running routes from the slot, from the outside, and he's getting matched up with Upton Stout, and you're not getting the Penix, it's gonna be a long day.
Yeah, and you mentioned the pressure on Penix, Jason. The Falcons' offensive line and Penix also 4.1 sack percentage on his dropbacks. That's the 4th lowest rate in the league. He's tough to get after. The interior of the Falcons' offensive line, Chris Lindstrom, Matthew Bergeron, and Ryan Nunzel, they've only allowed 24 of the 55 offensive line pressure. So a lot of those pressures are coming from the exterior of the line. Elijah Wilkinson has a team high 16 pressures allowed. You mentioned Jake Matthews on the other side. Sounds like he's going to play, and he's been around
straight games.
He's been around for a while, so obviously you're going to get with him. The Niners on the other side, Jason, not a very good pass rush to say the least. They sacked Spencer Rattler 3 times in week 2. Since then, the Niners have 3 sacks in 4 games. So it's been tough. And then you mentioned Penix as well. When he's clean, he's obviously a better quarterback. Something I found interesting per PFF, and these are the PFF stats. I'm not saying PFF grades, Jason. We don't care about the grades, but the stats are very good. The stats are very, very good. When he's blitzed, He has a 97.8 passer rating, 1 touchdown, no interceptions on 51 dropbacks. When he's not blitzed, it's 80.6 passer rating on 121 dropbacks, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So it's really going to be key, Jason, that if the Niners do send an extra man, they get him or make him move, or they're able to create pressure with 4 and make him deal with the extra man, because I'm just assuming what it is he's better with less men in the secondary, because if you're sending 5 or 6, less guys in the secondary gives him more space to throw the ball. How do the Niners affect Penix? How do they get the pass rush to hit against admittedly a tough offensive line?
Yeah, they're going to have to, allocate more resources that way. And it's not something that Saleh wants to do very often. He wants to sit in the soft zone, but you can't. And if you sit in cover 3, that's again like what the Bills were doing, was just sitting back and trying to get there with 4. Ed Oliver played in this game, and he's a great run defender, but Penix was doing whatever he wants. He was baking cakes back there, and he's throwing the football before London's out of his break, and it can't go that way in this game. It cannot go that way in this game. Like, you've got to find a way. Now, what I did notice a little bit of is that because Batum is so fast, they were using him to blitz. And I think that that's probably the better way to do this, is have him closer to the line of scrimmage. If you're worried about him in coverage, let Winters cover, since you have so much more confidence in him, right? And he has more experience. But you have to find a way to get to Penix and at least move him off the spot. He's not mobile. He's a statue. Right? Like, he's a statue, and you have to move him off his spot. If he's comfortable and patting that football back there and he's throwing it, it's going to be a long day. So I do think that when I saw what they were doing later on with Batum, was they were using him to get to the line of scrimmage. Now, did it work? No. But again, we're talking about a week's preparation, watching, and the game plan is going to be different. And obviously, he was thrown into the fire, but I was really impressed with him, man. I thought he was fine. I really didn't think that was the biggest problem. Like, he's not going to replace Fred Warner, but it just felt like the Bucs, they kept spamming the place I dig over his head, and he was just in a spot where he had to choose up or down, and you were going to get a completion one way or another. So I think if you're worried about him in coverage, if you think that he has a problem in coverage, then send him and try to send him but because he's very good in run fits, he's very good at stopping the run. And as you saw, like, Rachaad White didn't have a lot of success running the football, but I think it's got to be a game plan of this where you do that a little bit more, because if you do that with Stout, Penix is going to recognize it and get the ball out fast, and it'll be to London, it'll be to one of those guys, it'll be to Bijan, and now you don't have numbers. So it's got to be that you've got to dial up a little bit more pressure.
I like it, Jason. Get me excited about Tatum Bethune, which like nothing against Tatum Bethune. It's just, the Fred Warner stuff, tough to deal with as Niner fans. So obviously nothing against Tatum Bethune. It's just Niner fans are, we're used to 54, and it's going to be a different look for the Niners, obviously.
Well, if you want solace, the last guy who wore 48 was Fred Warner. But look, look. In all seriousness, that's an inside joke between Andrew and I. It's in all seriousness. I went into the tape getting ready to be depressed, right? All over again, and I was depressed, man, because the one play that you see Fred blows up was a screen.
The screen, the second play of the game,
right? And I immediately got sad again, and then I went into it, and I'm like, all right, let me look. And I'll be honest, right? I always tell people all the time, when you watch the tape has to talk to you. If you have a preconceived notion or something that you want to confirm when you watch the tape, you're not going to get anything out of it other than the things that you can point out and cherry pick. Yeah. So I'll be honest, I went into this saying, oh God, I don't want to see the drop off. And then I watch him make a play, and I watch him make another play, and I'm like, shit, man, this guy is like firing downhill. He looks like he's balling. Look, man, say whatever you want about the 49ers.
Yeah.
We are a linebacker factory. Yeah. Why wouldn't Batum be the next one?
Yeah.
Right? Like, and Winters was somebody who, was written off round 6, whatever. He's played well. Plays declined a little bit, but hey, we don't want to talk about the negative. Let's keep it, let's keep it positive. But Batum looked good, man. And I was very impressed being thrown into the fire. Obviously things he needs to, but he plays really hard. He's really good in run defense. You just got to find a way to, not have him in those high-low conflicts that Baker had him in hell with those things. I just felt so bad because I'm watching and he's like, all right, I'm going to come down on Otten. Ball whizzes right by his head to the place I dig, and it's a huge gain. And I'm like, what was he supposed to do? So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what it looks like. Obviously, you're not the only person.
Hugo said I'm wearing slides, and he ain't lying. No shoes in the house, unfortunately, Hugo. No shoes in the house. As soon as you come in, leave the shoes at the door. So, but the kicks that I were wearing when I took Averly to her pizza place was the Liverpool LeBron low nines. So,
there you go, Jason. A little shoe talk. Jason, I feel like that's a lot of Falcons Niners talk. I want to touch about the trade deadline. It's coming up here in a couple of weeks. The game last night probably takes Trey Hendrickson off the board for the 49ers, which we'll talk about that game here in a second because holy shit, what a football game. I want to throw out a name, Jason. I don't know if it necessarily makes sense for the 49ers. If you allow me to do some reckless trade deadline talk here, the Niners are probably already calling this team because of Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, a couple players. Jalen Waddle would be a very interesting addition for this 49ers team, would it not?
That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. That's why I said reckless speculation. That's why I have a podcast, Jason Aponte. Allow me to recklessly speculate. Jalen Waddle would be a sick little addition to this thing. And there's rumors that they're looking to move some people. I've seen Devin A-Chain to the Seahawks, which I would not like. Because I don't think that's going to happen. But hey, reckless trade deadline speculation, Jason Aponte. So if there's a name out there that you want to recklessly speculate on, we could do it. But I feel like Jalen Waddle would be a very intriguing option that I don't think is going to happen.
Yeah, trade targets that I've been really, I've done a lot of research and I've been digging in, and I've got a few names that maybe are a little bit off the board and people haven't really thought of, but this is the type of research that you guys depend on me for. So first of all, I'm thinking about Josh Allen at quarterback. I think that's probably the first place that I would start, and I would think
would he start over Purdy though?
I mean, I don't know. I would love to see an open competition. I would love to see an open competition, but I'm thinking Josh Allen, right? Okay. The other place that I'm thinking about Myles Garrett at edge. Now that's an off the board name right there because he's a little under the radar. I think that we should probably be thinking there, and then I'm thinking about at cornerback Sauce Gardner or Patrick Surtain. I know, guys, these are names that it's hard to come by, and you're like, who is that guy? But you know what? I've been putting in the research, and I've really been working hard and working these trade ideas, man. I really think that one of these four moves could drastically change the 49ers.
So what I'm hearing is I shouldn't pre-order the Jalen Waddle Niners jersey is what I'm getting.
Nah, he's a giant. No, look, honestly,
he's a giant. I like that.
All the strange, and exactly. Vish is thinking Justin Jefferson, 100%. Like 100%. Like now you're thinking, right? Like I know that's somebody that's flying under the radar right there, for sure. No, like they're like the H-Chan one to Seattle, that's not gonna happen because Kenneth Walker's good and Seattle's fucking stupid. I mean, I hope they never wise up and play him more. I mean, keep playing Zach Charbonnet. That 2.6 yards per carry is really, really jumping out there when you have a guy that's like running for for a clip, but you don't want to give him the ball. That's not something that's gonna, even if they got H-Chan, that's not something that would really scare me, regardless. Yeah. It would upgrade them, but they've got a good guy there. Like maybe just play him. So, and then the Jalen Waddle thing, I don't just put yourself in the Giants' shoes. Why on earth are you trying to trade away draft picks for a player that isn't going to push you any closer to a playoff spot when you should be trying to rebuild for next season? But, I get it. Shane and Dabble are coaching for their jobs, but man, I don't know. I don't understand that part. I do want to say this. The Trey Hendrickson shit is dead. So say bye-bye. Thank Joe Flacco again. He's ruined the 49ers season again. Thursday night was electric.
I had a dream of that Aaron Rodgers throw, by the way. I dreamed of that Rodgers throw. Holy shit. Could you
dude,
just one season with him on the Niners would have been so cool, man. Just one year.
Aaron Rodgers is the greatest natural thrower of the football in NFL history.
Yeah.
Full stop.
He's
Full
the
stop.
most talented quarterback of my lifetime, and I
Full
don't
stop.
think I want to hear a conversation about that.
There is no conversation about it. He's 41 and he's spinning and he threw it 70 yards.
69 yards is the longest recorded throw since 2017. And that's a 42-year-old man.
Full stop. But yeah, that was a fun game. But yeah, Hendrickson off the table. That's done. I think the 49ers are still in that spot where these next few games are going to determine where they go.
Yeah.
Whether it's, hey, you know what, we're just going to see how this plays out. Or, you know what, the NFC is looking wide open. There's not really many teams that, because even like, all right, Green Bay. Green Bay should be way better than they are.
Yeah.
For some reason, they at times I'm like, shit, they're unstoppable. And then sometimes I watch them, I'm like, man, these guys stink. Now the Eagles can't run offenses unless it's that push play or whatever. The Washington Commanders might be cooked. Who is it? Who is it right now in the NFC? So I understand the 49ers still not standing pat and going for it, because when you watch all these other teams, who impresses you? Who's running away with this shit? Usually there's a one or two team, it's like elite and then drop off. It's a bunch of just everybody's in the same spot right now, and they all have issues one way or another. So,
yeah, I think the one I'm subscribed to, if I had to pick a best team in the NFL, and probably not the best place for me to say this, I like the Rams got to be in the conversation, right?
Yes and no, because I do think, they beat up on the Ravens. The Ravens have as many injuries as the 49ers.
Have you speaking of the Ravens? Sorry, I don't mean to. Have you seen that schedule?
Yeah,
sure. The Ravens are good. No, yeah, the Ravens are gonna be fine.
Yeah, they're gonna make the playoffs.
Fine.
Yeah. That's why if you want free fantasy football advice on the bye, trade for Derrick Henry while somebody is already panicked before you find out that Lamar's back and they start rolling again. Anyway, the Rams they beat up on the Ravens, they blow the game to the Eagles, they lose to the Niners, and now they go to London to face the Jaguars, and the Jaguars are banged up. Now all of a sudden Devin Lloyd can't play, but now they're banged up. Puka's not playing. So, I mean, the only reason they're in the discussion is because there is no clear-cut best team in the NFC, and you can make an argument for 6 and 7 teams of who the best in the NFC, and that includes the 49ers even at this point, because everybody else has been so close to the pack, man. That's why I don't blame the 49ers for doing some fact-finding and seeing what goes on these next few games, how they look, and what they need, because you're going to find out a lot about this. And I see Thibodeau in here. The Giants aren't giving away their best run defender, who is 24 years old with 2 years under cost control. So we've got to wave bye-bye to that one as well, too.
Get ready to learn Bradley Chubb or
get ready to learn Arden Key and Miles Murphy, buckos.
Jason, speaking of Rams Jaguars, let's go through our predictions. We haven't done great. That's okay. It's been a hard
season. Yeah, I know we haven't.
Predict, man. So Rams Jaguars out at Wembley Stadium out in London, England. I just said that they're in a conversation for the best team in football. I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams.
I'm taking the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they're for real.
I like the Jaguars. I just like the Rams a little bit more. I'm still waiting to buy stocks back into Trevor Lawrence, because I sold some of them. I'm still holding some, but I sold some. You're out. Just completely out.
I'm out, but he's not bad enough that it's going to cost them games. Or
Saints,
yeah.
Saints travel to Chicago to take on the Bears. Jason, do you happen to see Monday Night Football?
I did.
Did you see who did some kicking? We don't need to talk about it. The Bears win. Bears beat the Saints.
The kicker who shall not be named. Whatever. He doesn't play for us anymore. Who cares?
Hey man, he did his job. Shouldn't be celebrated.
The Bears win, but man, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm becoming a Spencer Rattler fan. My God, he's a starter. I can't believe it. I went into this season getting ready to dog this man. Kellen Moore, take a bow. You leave Philadelphia, they can't run the offense. You get over there to the Saints, and Spencer Rattler looks startable. Don't let Kellen Moore get a guy in New Orleans. I'm telling you right now, man.
Dolphins Browns in Cleveland, allegedly supposed to be a sloppy game weather-wise as well. Jason, whose line is it anyway? Guess the total for this game. The over-under number.
35
and a half. I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Two lefty quarterbacks, by the way. It's the first time in a long time, so that's pretty cool. You're going to take the Dolphins. I'm taking the Browns. The Browns, Quinshon Judkins is going to run for 788 yards in this game. Like, give or take. They're not going to be able to throw the football. It sounds like it's going to be 25-mile-an-hour winds and rainy. I don't trust the Dolphins in those conditions, man. Tua can't play in anything under than 72 degrees, let alone this. Let's go Browns, man. And if you have Quinshon Judkins, congratulations. You just won your fantasy week.
Hey, man, Jamar Chase got me 38 points last night. So, Patriots at Titans. New coach bounce for the Tennessee Titans. I think it's Mike McCoy out in Tennessee now. But I got the Patriots because I'm a Drake May believer.
Mike Vrabel revenge game. Mike Vrabel revenge game. And, you know, Drake May has been playing very well. But, yeah, the Titans, you know, you would think that they might get a bump. They are going to play better because Callahan's terrible. But the Patriots are for real. First place, AFC East, New England Patriots. Make sure you put some respect on their name.
I like it. The Raiders head to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Ugh. I fear the Chiefs are back, Jason.
They are.
Ponte.
They are. I fucking hate it. I hate it. I fucking hate it. They literally are getting it back on offense. Mahomes is looking like that. And what do? You plug in that felon Rashee Rice right back into your lineup, man. And with Worthy and all these guys, this is the worst thing that could have happened. All of a sudden, we're going to look up and the AFC Championship game is going to be there and the Chiefs are going to be in it. They are rolling right now, man. Oh.
Eagles head to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Maybe I'm too big of a believer in the defense in Minnesota. Maybe I'm too big of a believer in a Carson Wentz revenge game. I'm taking the Vikings.
Vikings. Listen to me, Eagles. If you had trouble passing the football against the New York Giants, I've got very good news for you. You had 10 days to prepare for Brian Flores.
Like it.
Yeah, they're gonna run all over them. Yeah, and Carson Wentz revenge game. Yeah, give me the Vikings. The Eagles are not gonna win this game.
Carolina Panthers head out to the Meadowlands to take on the 0-6 Jets. The Panthers are going to be over 500, huh? They're going to be 4-3 after Sunday, huh?
Instead of picking against the Jets every week, let's start asking when the Jets win a game.
Okay.
And Francisco Mendoza, congratulations, you are a New York Jet.
Let's play the game, Jason Aponte. I have it up. They got the Panthers on Sunday. I got the Panthers.
L.
The Bengals.
L.
Flacco revenge game.
Flacco revenge game.
The Browns.
L.
That defense for Cleveland.
Defense is too good.
Mm-hmm. At Patriots.
L.
At the Ravens.
L.
Versus the Falcons.
L.
Versus the Dolphins. That might be
it.
That might be the chance.
That'll be
December 7th.
That'll be the game that gets Mike McDaniel fired.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Well, somebody write that down. Jason said December 7th, Mike McDaniel fired. The Giants had the Mile High to take on the Denver Broncos. I think the Denver Broncos are getting there. I think they had a sloppy offensive game against the Jets. London, you can't really say much about it. London games tend to be weird. Also, I feel like people are too high on the Giants, and it's just right. That feels like not what the Giants want. Giants typically fall apart in those situations. I'm going to take the Broncos.
Nick Bonito, you are becoming, not only this season have you been the best pass rusher, edge rusher in the league. Not only. You're becoming one of my favorite players because you literally spoke for me when I tell Giants fans all the time that they're the most delusional fan base in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And WFAN is saying that Jackson Dart is not only better than Daniel Jones and Jalen Hurts. And listen to me. No one wants to slander Jalen Hurts as a passer more than I do. Yeah. But Jackson Dart isn't better than Jalen Hurts or Daniel Jones. What on earth are you talking about? And that's exactly what Nick Bonito's talking about. The most delusional fan base. They've got something coming to them this week, and he's angry. Woo! And they're going to whip their ass.
Cal Raleigh just tied in the bottom of the 8th inning for those baseball fans out there. Just throwing it out there. Speaking of Daniel Jones, all three. Hey, man. All three. I'm one of them. Speaking of Daniel Jones, the Colts on the "We're Proving We're Good" tour. Head to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. I believe Joe Alt's returning. And I think
Doubtful.
that's is he doubtful? Okay, so
Yeah.
doubtful to return. That might change it. I'm going to go Colts, and I think the Colts continue rolling
I
against
am
the
gonna go.
Chargers.
I am gonna go Colts as well too. And a secret that nobody wants to talk about is, and it's only because Slater and Alt are hurt, that Chargers offensive line is bad.
No.
And especially on the interior is bad. No. But Jim Harbaugh invests in O-line. Just keep lying to yourself. But I do want to say this. The Colts pass rush is getting there. And that should scare people more than anything. And Jim Harbaugh does invest in O-line. He, Slater and Alt, Slater was there when he got there, but Alt is. But their interior O-line is bad. And I think the Colts keep it going. I mean, they've lost 2 in a row, the Chargers, right? They lost again they lost to Washington the week before.
Is it 4 in a row? No, it's they've lost 2 in a row. They played Miami on Sunday, so they ended the streak.
They won. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Kamani Vidal. Shout out to you, buddy. All right, yeah, but I'm gonna go Colts. The Colts are for real.
Commies head to Dallas to take on the Cowboys in what could be a tricky one because the Commanders' defense isn't very good. Debo and Terry McLaurin are hurt right now. I don't know if they're playing on Sunday. I'm gonna take the Cowboys. I think CD Lamb's returning. George Pickens is looking so that offense is working real well down in Dallas. I think Dallas outscores the Commanders.
Correct. The Dallas Cowboys are going to win this game. Washington, we're going to have to put you on pack alert, and I want to make sure that everybody who ran to praise Adam Peters has come back to earth because that team is banking on Von Miller and the great Adam Peters, who gets credit for every single great 49ers pick and none of the credit for any of the bad picks. And in 1 year with Washington is the greatest GM of all time. Let's settle down. They're on pack alert and they are on fraud watch. They're going to get their ass kicked. I think Dallas's offense is rolling right now, and Dak is playing out of his mind.
Dak is if he was on a better team, he might be in the MVP conversation. He already is, but if they would be better, it'd be more of a front. The Packers head to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Listen, man, you just mentioned it. If the Packers don't win this game, they got some concerns. So I'm going to pick Green Bay.
Yeah, I am too. It's not that they're not winning games. It's just that at times when I watch them, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this team? Like, why do you go through these stretches where you can't score or your defense is at the end of the game is getting their ass whipped? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's not one thing or the other. Like, sometimes the defense collapses down. Like, giving up 40 to the Cowboys. I know they're playing good, but come on. So the Packers are weird, man. But yeah, if they lose this game, and even if Kyler plays, doesn't really matter. They're in trouble, but they're not going to lose this game.
Monday Night Football, Jason. Guess what? Another double header, but this time it's staggered. One starts at 4 p.m., one starts at 7 p.m. my time. So, Jason, you're staying up to 1 a.m. watching the Texans Seahawks. Sorry about that, pal. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, however, go to Detroit to take on the Lions in the first Monday night game. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to have enough weapons. I know Baker's having an insane season. I'm going to take the Lions.
Yeah, I think so too. Mike Evans is going to be back in this one. Baker's on a heater, but Detroit they're so good offensively. Obviously, what happened with the Chiefs and stuff like that. But the Chiefs are rounding into shape and everything as well too. I'm not going to knock them for that, but yeah, I do think Detroit gets this one.
Second Monday night game, the Texans head up to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. I'm going to take the Seahawks. Seahawks are starting to concern me a little bit as a Niner fan.
I'm already concerned, but Houston's going to win this game.
Ooh.
Now, if we're looking a little bit further down the line, Houston's next for the 49ers, and their defense is elite. Like, I'm not talking about, like, good. Their defense is elite. Their problem isn't defense. And this is going to be a game where whoever is a Sam Darnold hater is going to watch him struggle in this game. He may throw a pick or two, and they're going to say, there he is. But Houston's defense is good. So, like, again, but yeah, I got Houston in this one, man. Not because I want Seattle to lose, but I just I think this is one of those Sam Darnold throws interceptions games.
Okay.
And those people that hate Sam Darnold are gonna be like, see, when the games get tough, like Houston's defense is good though. Like those guys get paid too. It's okay to say that he had a bad game against a good defense.
Sunday Night Football, Jason Aponte, the game we were previewing earlier. The Niners 2.5-point favorites over the Atlanta Falcons at Levi's Stadium, 47.5-point total. I think this is going to be a rock fight, Jason Aponte. I think the Falcons defense is going to cause some issues. I think the Niners defense is going to cause some issues for Atlanta. I'm going to go 49ers 17, Atlanta 14. I think it's going to be a low scoring game.
I hope not, but I'm going to go 49ers 24, and I'm going to go Falcons 20. You know, the Falcons are going to be slower on grass. You know, when Bijan hits that turf, you know, he's gone, right? Like their offense isn't as fast. I really like a lot of the stuff that they do with motion as well too. The Falcons are third in the league with motion on offense. You know, but the Buffalo struggles horrendously against motion. That's why they were kicking their ass up and down the field all game. And the 49ers are first in motion. But the Kittle thing is going to be back. I think the 49ers actually get on track and run the football this week for the first time this season. And if they don't, then we're going to say a lot of curse words on the instant reaction. But I do think that they control this game, slow it down, and they don't put, you know, Atlanta on the field as much. And I do think that they finally do start to score in the red zone, albeit they're probably going to have their second rushing touchdown in this game as well.
I like it, Jason. There we go. So we both have the Niners winning. Shouldn't be a surprise for those of you who watch this podcast frequently. We tend to pick the Niners, so that's okay because this is a Niner podcast, Jason Aponte. That'll do it for this week's episode. We will be back Sunday after the game, right after it ends. We'll do an instant reaction together. Jason, I'm heading out to the mean streets of Palo Alto to go hang out with our friend Jordan Elliott and Sour Death Sam to watch the Florida State Seminoles take on the Stanford Cardinal tomorrow night. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm so jealous.
Shout
out to Patrick and Jordan, man.
We love them.
So
we
jealous.
love them. Hey,
I'm, you know, look, I'm going to do it, guys. I'm going to put out the Tatum Batoon film breakdown. Okay. When this shit gets demonetized and shadow banned and none of you get to see it, I'm going to be very upset. So just know that I'm doing this for you and the culture. And when it goes up, you better watch it as soon as it comes out. Because if you don't, you won't be able to watch it. It's gone. It will be gone. It will be shadow banned, and it will be demonetized. Shout out to the NFL. They're so poor. They need to make sure they get their $7 from my video.
It's a mom and pop startup, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you know, but look, I am going to put it out. I am going to do it. I'm going to work on it. Averly's here. It's time for Snoopy movies and all that stuff in a little bit. But tomorrow, I will sit down while college football is on. I will narrate it. I will draw the plays out, and I'll put it out. But you guys got to watch it immediately and put a bunch of likes on it before it gets demonetized because it absolutely will.
Don't mean to wait till the end of the episode for a hot take here, Jason Aponte, but it's The Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown is the best Charlie Brown movie.
That's a very big hot take. Okay. I don't disagree. Averly's coming around to that one, but a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving is number one in this household.
Okay.
Not a Charlie Brown Christmas. A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving is the one that's up top. But she's coming around to Great Pumpkin. Great Pumpkin, I think, has the best music. Okay. No. Thanksgiving does, but Great Pumpkin has the best story and drawing, in my opinion. I think that one, animation wise, looks good.
Hey, man. I love it. Charlie Brown Talk here on the Sprint Right Option Podcast. Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners.
I got a rock.